Hi, my name is Michael Roberts, and today I'm going to go over the different kinds of unemployment. Alright, so we're going to go into the different kinds of unemployment. There are 4 different kinds. The first one is frictional, the second one is structural, the third one that we'll talk a little bit about is seasonal, and then finally we go over cyclical unemployment. So frictional unemployment is going to deal with the time that workers spend in their job search. So anyone that tries to find a job is going to spend time submitting applications, going to interviews, spending time essentially trying to find that perfect job. So that's going to be frictional unemployment, and we're always going to have some portion of frictional unemployment. We're never going to have an economy where people instantaneously are matched with the perfect jobs. So a type of frictional unemployment would occur when there's a college graduate, when you graduate college, and you spend some time between when you graduate and when you actually get that job searching for the perfect job. So that time between graduation and actually getting employed, you're frictionally unemployed. Structural unemployment is a little bit different. The structure of our economy defines where the jobs are, what kind of skills are required, who would be best at the job. But that structural unemployment is also always going to be a part of our economy, because there's always going to be some people whose skills aren't perfectly matched with the jobs that are available, or who are looking for jobs in locations where those jobs don't necessarily exist. Maybe they exist in a different section of the country. Structural unemployment would be something like someone being trained as an engineer and living in North Carolina, when the only jobs for engineers are actually in California. So there's something about the structure of our economy that has put the need for engineers in California, but unfortunately we have an engineer looking for a job in North Carolina. Now, one more comment about structural unemployment is that it can be affected by wages, and it can be affected by labor market institutions, and it can be affected by government policies. So if the wage in the market is simply too high, firms aren't going to be interested in hiring as many people. And what this is going to cause, this is going to cause structural unemployment to be larger than it would be otherwise. And as the wage adjusts back to equilibrium, that structural unemployment will adjust back to equilibrium. The minimum wage occurs when the government sets a price floor, and so the wage can't adjust back to equilibrium. And so a minimum wage which is too high can actually cause structural unemployment. And lastly, labor market institutions like unions. If unions are able to bargain for wages which are above equilibrium, and they're able to do that over long periods of time, you can also cause structural unemployment that way. So frictional and structural unemployment will always be there in the economy. And in fact, we call frictional plus structural unemployment, we call that the natural rate of unemployment. The natural rate of unemployment will be lower than total unemployment, because total unemployment is going to include our 4th type of unemployment, cyclical unemployment. And I will get to seasonal unemployment in just a second. Cyclical unemployment is, think of it like musical chairs. When you have more people looking for chairs than there are actual chairs available. But the reason there are too few chairs is because the economy is going through its business cycle. So when you hit a recession and firms decide to stop hiring or they decide to lay off workers, you have this cyclical unemployment. The fact that there's a recession means there aren't enough jobs available. And so total unemployment is actually frictional plus structural plus cyclical. With cyclical unemployment, the issue is that there's a recession and there are simply too few jobs. With structural employment, remember, we had jobs available, it was just that the location wasn't quite right, or the skills that the employers needed didn't exactly match the workers. With cyclical, it's slightly different. There's simply no jobs available. So in a recession, those jobs have disappeared. And until we reach an expansion period again, where firms begin to hire and begin to grow, we simply won't have those jobs. When we do begin to expand again, cyclical unemployment will go down. But as long as we're in a recession, we will have cyclical unemployment. Seasonal unemployment occurs when, say, a mall Santa. He's only employed from November, well, maybe October, until December 25th. After that, that job is eliminated. Or a lifeguard who only works during the summer. June, July, August, they have a job. December, they don't really have a job. So that type of unemployment and that switch from employment to unemployment isn't something that we want to include when we're trying to measure how effective or how efficient our economy is working. So our goal there is to sort of eliminate that seasonal unemployment. What we do is we adjust the unemployment rate. Seasonally adjusted unemployment rate is usually the unemployment rate that you'll see on the New York Times or on the news when you watch the news. My favorite type of unemployment to study is other people's unemployment. Studying my own is horrible. You just never want to have that at all. My favorite type of unemployment to study is cyclical unemployment because it gives us an understanding of how the economy is growing or shrinking. It really is.